We're constantly bombarded with health advice, rules we follow without even thinking about it. But what if some of the most common facts we live by are just completely wrong? Well, today, we're going to bust some of the biggest health myths out there.
So let's start with a really big one. Just think about all those basic rules of healthy eating you learned growing up. Well, it turns out some of that advice is way past its expiration date.
Okay, first up, let's tackle the myths we run into every single day in the grocery store, on our plates. You might be really surprised by what the science actually has to say about all this.
We've all been told to fill our carts in the fresh produce section, right? But that isn't the whole story. The reality is, a lot of produce gets frozen or canned right at its peak ripeness. And that process, it actually locks in the vitamins and minerals. Meanwhile, fresh produce can lose nutrients during long truck rides and while it's sitting in storage. I mean, think about it. Frozen peas often have more vitamin C than fresh peas that have been sitting around for days.
So, the takeaway here is don't shy away from the frozen food aisle. Those bags of frozen broccoli or cans of peaches can be fantastic, affordable, and super nutritious options. The only thing to keep an eye on is added salt in canned veggies or sugary syrups in canned fruit.
Oh man, for decades, the poor egg yolk got such a bad rep. We were all told to stick to egg whites to avoid cholesterol and heart disease. But here's the thing, more recent and much better research has shown us a completely different picture. We now know that for most people, the cholesterol you eat in your food doesn't really move the needle on the cholesterol levels in your blood.
And that is exactly why you shouldn't be skipping the best part. Seriously, the yolk is a powerhouse. It's packed with important nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. So please, go ahead and enjoy that whole egg, totally guilt-free.
This brings us to one of the absolute biggest myths in all of dieting. The whole idea that certain foods are bad, and you have to cut them out completely if you want to lose weight. But is that really true?
The actual science is so much simpler and, honestly, more flexible. Weight loss really just boils down to a calorie deficit. As long as you burn more calories than you take in, you will lose weight. Now, of course, getting a good balance of protein, fats, and carbs is super important for your overall health, but you do not have to banish treats forever to reach your goals. It really is all about balance.
All right, so we've tackled some food fables, but the myths don't stop in the kitchen, not by a long shot. Some of the most widely accepted rules about fitness and wellness are just as misleading. In fact, some are built on a total lie.
Okay, let's shift gears and dive into the world of fitness. We're going to explore some myths about our bodies in motion and what to do when things go wrong, like with back pain.
Anyone with a fitness tracker knows this magic number, 10,000 steps. It's treated like the absolute gold standard for being active. But have you ever wondered where it came from? Well, get this. It wasn't from a scientific study. It was from a Japanese marketing campaign for a pedometer back in the 1960s. It was just a catchy slogan.
So if 10,000 was just a marketing gimmick, what is the real number? Well, the actual science is really interesting. Modern research shows that the biggest health benefits really start kicking in when you go from being sedentary to hitting around 6,000 steps a day. Yeah, more is great, but that 6,000 mark, that's a much more achievable and scientifically backed target for most of us.
Okay, this is a huge one. This is some old advice that has been completely flipped on its head. When your back hurts, your first instinct is probably to lie down and not move a muscle. But doctors now know that is often the absolute worst thing you can do. Staying in bed for too long actually makes the problem worse. Your supporting muscles get weaker, your whole body starts to stiffen up, and your overall recovery time just gets longer. Turns out, gentle movement, like a short walk, is usually the best medicine to help your back heal. All right, for our last section, let's get into some of the really weird ones. These are the strange facts you were probably told as a kid that might still be rattling around in your head.
Ah yes, the classic playground warning. Every kid has heard this one, and I bet there are a few adults out there who are still a little nervous about accidentally swallowing their gum because of it.
Yeah, it's completely 100% false. While it's true your body can't digest the synthetic base of gum, it doesn't just sit there. Your digestive system is incredibly good at moving things along, and that gum will pass right through and out of your body in a few days, just like corn kernels or seeds.
Now this one is a little more macabre, a total staple of horror movies and spooky stories. It's an image that has fascinated and kind of freaked people out for centuries. But is there any truth to it at all?
So what's really going on here is just a creepy illusion. After death, the body's cells stop being produced, so growth stops completely. What's actually happening is that the skin dehydrates and retracts, pulling back from the nail beds and hair follicles. And it's this shrinkage that creates the appearance of growth. Wild, right?
So, what have we learned through all of this? Well, health information is always changing. The real key is to be a critical thinker. You've got to question things that are presented as simple, absolute truths. Always look for the nuance. Focus on your overall lifestyle patterns, and if a so-called fact sounds way too good or way too strange to be true, try to find out where it actually came from in the first place.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? From the food on our plates to the steps on our fitness trackers, so many of our core health beliefs are built on some pretty shaky ground. It leaves us with one final and really important question to think about. What else should we be questioning?